Hi, everyone. Welcome to the OK Den Show, where I am Titia Owens, the Madre.
Hey, y'all. I'm Chyna Elizabeth, the daughter. Welcome back to the show.
It is so amazing how she feels she always needs to add some notes
A little something.
to her words.
Yeah.
It doesn't accent the words at all.
It does.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Chyna, I have had a full day.
You have.
And I thought it would be great for us to deal with hard conversations.
Hard conversation and some shunts.
She got that from me. She done had her and some show. Who does that? Her mother.
I did get it from my mom. I just thought I should just throw that in there real quick.
But yes, hard conversations are when people are having to discuss something that sometimes can be very difficult.
Yeah.
And I have found myself having quite a few of those lately. Go ahead.
Do you feel like you're a person that's always open to having the hard conversations, or did you ease into that, or was it something you had to learn to do? Like, did that come naturally to you since you had some recently? Like,
Well, they never come easy. They're always necessary.
right?
Whenever you're having a hard conversation, and I'm a little hoarse today too, guys. We had a volunteer appreciation this weekend, and we laughed for hours.
Too many hours
Over the weekend,
if you ask me.
And I laugh kind of loud when I get excited, and so I laugh to the point of hoarseness. So you all might hear some of that tonight. So forgive my voice for those that may be listening, like on the radio and stuff. They can't see my face, but I may sound a little different. But anyway, difficult conversations are necessary because sometimes you can't move past some things until you have that hard conversation.
That's very true.
A lot of times when things touch us deeply or cause us to be emotional about a thing, usually we're not moved from it until we have the discussion about it.
Very true.
And so I'm one of those people. I've had to learn over the years that I can't hold things in when something is bothering me, that I need to go ahead and have that not rough, but a hard conversation, meaning difficult to have, but necessary. And so I'm pretty good about having a hard conversation. How about you? Are you a person?
I feel like I've gotten a lot better. I feel like growing up, I ran from them. I just don't like confrontation or even knowing how to say things a certain way so that it's not coming off in a wrong manner. Because I feel like sometimes in hard conversations, you can offend, or you can say something that the other person doesn't necessarily want to hear and start a conflict that you're not necessarily wanting to start, but
Exactly.
If you're disagreeing or it's something you just see differently or view differently, I ran from those conversations because I just didn't want to have the discord or any type of
Aftermath.
Yeah, so I wouldn't run to having those conversations. I would definitely avoid them as much as possible. But as I've gotten older and talking with you more, you kind of just pushed that out of me because she could see that I was not trying to have those conversations. So I feel like that definitely helped, even with other relationships, me just being able to talk more freely and say what is on my chest regardless. And I think I'm more conscious now of even how I say things or how I bring things to people, because you could say things and it come out completely wrong. So I think I try to be intentional about just saying things in a way that they could receive it. So it's gotten a lot easier. Like, I still am not running to have no hard conversation.
Right.
But I'm okay with it.
Right.
I will if it's necessary. I think just because maturing and getting older, you realize those conversations are definitely needed in order to a relationship to last.
Yeah.
And you not harbor things and then become resentful.
Exactly.
And let things fester. It's
I
like
agree.
you might as well just go on, say it, and it be nipped in the bud. And it really don't have to be even nothing too big, but
Right.
if you keep it in, then it gets bigger because stuff just keep adding on.
Yes.
You know?
It becomes a snowball effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree with that so much. And I will say I have seen you really mature in that area. And it does make you, it causes you to have a sense of relief
Yeah.
too when you have those hard conversations.
Freedom.
I'll say growing up, having a daughter that was sometimes rebellious.
Oh. Huh?
Yeah. I remember having a daughter like that. And there were conversations that we had to have
Definitely.
growing up, you know.
For sure.
The thing about having hard conversations, though, again, it's for me, they're always to better a situation. Like, I'm not having a hard conversation to make something worse
Definitely.
or to cause more problem. If anything, I feel like if you know how I feel and you know, and I know how you feel,
Yeah.
then we know how to move forward.
For sure.
When people are unclear and you're trying to guess about situations, it causes you, just like with text messages, people read text messages, but because you can't hear the person's voice even, you could create a whole scenario in your mind of how they said it
Exactly. That's why I hate texting.
or what they were thinking.
Yeah.
You start going through all these thought processes that are not even necessary.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel it happens when you don't talk to a person. You leave them to think whatever they want.
Yeah.
And sometimes that narrative is not always the truth.
That's so true.
So it's best to go ahead and have that hard conversation. So I'll say hard conversations, some of them can be, like, say for instance, someone has an addiction.
Yeah.
It could be an addiction. It could be an opinion even about what you think. Say for instance about wardrobe.
Yeah.
Or hair preferences, what a person drinks, what a person eats.
Yeah.
Drugs. It can be preference with relationships. It's so many different things. Even politics. We have so many different areas that can become hard just because we feel like that person doesn't want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah.
Or we feel like it's so important to us to have that it can become hard because we feel like our opinion may be so strong. And so I have learned that the best way to come is honest
Yeah.
and forward. I would say always thinking about the other person, meaning if you know who that person is, if they're sensitive, they may need a little more prepping.
Yeah.
In the sense of how you set up the conversation. You don't just maybe dive into it. You may want to take some time. I always say pray about it first. Pray
Definitely.
about how you want to say the words. I always say add a little sweet.
Yeah.
So the person doesn't feel like, was that necessary? Did you have to say that to me?
Right. I also pray for God to just put my heart in the right posture.
Yes.
Because if it's something that's not so great, I already know I can come off real wrong.
Yeah.
So just having my heart posture be right so that it comes out in a way that they can just receive it and then not, like, they know my intention is pure, opposed to trying to be negative or say something that they don't necessarily want to hear or just disagree with them. But prayer definitely has to happen.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Definitely.
You need to say that again.
Prayer. Do it. Need it.
It's a must.
Gotta
Hashtag,
have it.
you must pray.
Gotta pray. Yeah.
And I'm going to say for me, Chyna, prayer is so necessary in my life with so many things, but especially conversations and communications.
Yeah.
Some of the better relationships that I've had have been because of the prayer that either we've had together or just us being transparent to the Lord about our relationship or our conversations, even just asking the Lord to continue to strengthen the communication or what have you. Like even with my husband, you know, when we first got married, we were from two different countries. Basically, I was from Spain, he was from Russia. You know, in the sense of how we thought. No, we were not actually from those two places.
Right.
But we thought so differently. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time praying for my husband, and for myself, not praying for him and that he would change or anything like that. But I would pray that he would hear my words and make them sound sweet, as opposed to we were in competition with one another. I would ask the Lord to soften my heart, to keep me in a place of humility when he speaks to me so that I can hear him in a positive way. So, you know, having hard conversations about communication, how you talk to the person. You know, I remember my husband having to tell me, you know, you should work on your tone. You should work on how you speak to me, the voice range that you have. And I received that, not because he had to say it so perfectly. I'm not a person that needs a lot of preparation, just because I'm so straightforward. I like for a person to just be straightforward with me. For sure. But just the fact that he was able to tell me that, and I was ready to receive it just because I do care about how people feel and think. Especially if I already know that's not the first time I've heard that. So I need to take those things into consideration. You definitely said a thing about receiving. That is something I think we also have to pray about, is the other person being able to receive what you have to say. Amen. And just letting that be, you know? Not try to judge it. Exactly. Just take the words for what it is and try to find the good. Exactly. As opposed to feeling attacked or offended. I think we are so easily offended by truth. We're offended by someone having an opinion or a thought. Now, you can disagree with it. For sure. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be upset or angry because you didn't like it. You just can say I didn't like that, or I don't agree with it. No, for sure. But it doesn't have to turn into something unless you allow it to be that. And that's, again, how the person receives it. So that's why prayer is so important, because you do have to pray for that person. If you know it's a hard topic that you need to have, and you know that person may be sensitive and they may not take it the way you would think it may go just based on previous conversations, you need to go ahead and pray for that person. Yeah. Asking the Lord to soften their heart, open up their mind to hear the love that's coming from the words that you're saying, or the concern or the compassion that you're trying to portray. So I do know for a fact that really helps when you pray for that person, because the more receptive they are, or the more open their heart is, the change can take place, or the reception of it, just in that I hear you and I want to be, like I said, empathize. I want to empathize, not be, but empathize with what someone is saying. Right. So what about someone who just is completely not trying to hear anything that you have to say and like running from the conversation? Again, those are areas that you have to pray for the person, but you cannot control the outcome of somebody else's response. All you can do is what you're called to do. For sure. And especially if you know it's a topic that's necessary, that needs to happen, especially if it's something that's causing you pain, or creating some kind of discomfort based on something they're doing or saying, you know it's necessary. Now, again, it's up to them to receive it or not. Yeah. You cannot control that. All you can do is share with the mindset of, I'm saying this the best way I know how, the kindest way I know how, and that you pray that they can receive it, and you have to leave it there. Right. So even say you are having a conversation, what do you do to keep it from like escalating or getting to where, okay, this is a hard conversation and then it's kind of getting out of hand? I say when you see it getting out of hand, I would take the high road and cut the conversation off and say, you know what, maybe we can come back to this at another time, Or if they say, I don't want to talk about it anymore, then you have to be okay with not talking about it anymore. You know, again, it's not about winning a conversation. It's about having a conversation.
That's good.
So as long as you are attempting to do it with the right mindset, because there's a role we play first in attempting to have the conversation. And I think a lot of times, because there is no preparation, then the outcome can go either way.
That's true.
But when you have the mindset of praying about it first, and also making sure your heart is in the right place, your tone is in the right place, and you've thought about the wording you even want to use. I think all those things of preparation, because hard conversations are hard to have, then you want to make sure you've done your part.
Have you ever been the one to like know you're going into a conversation and just be like talking to yourself in a mirror, saying what
yes, I do a good practice.
No, for sure.
You know, like, unfortunately, you've been a great worker, and we've really appreciated you working here, but
that's so funny.
Due to the economy, we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
That's a hard conversation to have.
No, definitely.
That's a hard conversation to let someone go, to fire someone.
Yeah.
To relieve someone.
Yeah.
Any of those things, to break up with someone. Not easy.
No, for sure.
You know, even to tell someone that someone has passed away, that could be a hard conversation.
That's very hard.
To first time tell somebody you love them, that could be a hard conversation.
Yeah.
You may feel rejected.
Showing affection.
Yeah, all those things, because the person doesn't necessarily have to agree with how you feel or reciprocate back your feeling about the situation. So that's why I said it's always necessary for prayer.
Yeah. No, prayer is definitely key.
That's just what I believe. That's just what I believe. Everybody doesn't have to do that. I just feel it's worked for me.
Definitely.
I mean, even when I've had conversations with my children, with my husband, with my family, my friends, a lot of times, even sometimes when people are talking to me, I'm praying.
Yeah.
Because even my response, I'm caring about.
That's so interesting. I now that you say that, I feel like I've done that as well. Like, just certain things that people will say, I'll automatically go to, okay, God, help them to see the situation in a different light. Like, just automatically wanting to shift the way of the conversation or how it's going, and Him intervening in the conversation.
The Lord intervening.
Yeah. And,
that's good.
And being a part of it. Because it's like, okay, where is this going? You know?
And another thing you made me think about, when we're thinking about communicating to, say for instance, if I know that I'm going to have a hard conversation and it may cause me or that person to have to forgive. Some hard conversations cause you to have to ask for forgiveness. It may have been something you have done to a person or have wronged them, to be able to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or I apologize, or please forgive me.
Yeah.
That's another thing to think about in the mindset of humility.
Yeah.
You know, again,
definitely.
The object of the conversation, I would think, is to communicate clearly where the person hears you, understands your heart, and prayerfully they receive it, and if they can do something about it or affirm even your conversation, that will help. But it's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to move on if it's something that's not received at the moment. And even if you're asking for forgiveness, you want to pray that they are ready to give you forgiveness.
Yeah.
So it's a process all the way around.
Would you say you're a forgiving person? I know you forgive, but like quick to forgive, or or asking even for forgiveness. Yes.
Well, I will ask for forgiveness, especially if the Spirit just tugs at me and says, you know you were wrong for that, which He does quickly, then I will ask for forgiveness. I'm going to say that I am quick to forgive. Forgiveness, again, doesn't always mean that you have to stay attached to the person.
For sure.
You can forgive the person and still love them at a distance. And what that means for me is, I have forgiven in a huge way, but I will make myself available for the person. If opportunity permits itself for me to do that, I'll do it. Especially if the Lord is telling me to do something, whether it be serving that person or what have you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to keep them close.
Got you.
Because it just depends. It depends on what the situation was, and then what the Lord tells me to do.
For sure.
Regarding that relationship. Because sometimes the Lord will literally say, sever that relationship. And then there are other times He'll say, release that person, but keep them as a friend. Or He may say, cut all ties. I just have to listen and be open to doing whatever He says.
It's very true.
And I'm talking about the Lord.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think that's so good. Yeah. I think that's really good. I feel like I've gotten better.
So what has been your reasoning for not forgiving? If you've had that
I don't think I've had a problem with forgiving. It's just the quickness to forgive. I felt I would kind of hold on to things. And I feel like in order for me to truly forgive, I have to just let it go.
Got it.
Because I can say I forgive and then still have something in my heart that is not right. So, I don't know. I think as I've gotten older, I just see things in a different light. Trying to be more like Christ.
Right.
I don't think it has anything to do with me, really. Because if it was up to me,
we'd be scared. Basically.
No.
Go ahead.
But I think I've just learned a lot of the times too, it doesn't have anything to do with me.
That's good.
People project things that they have going on onto you, so I've just taken me out of it. Yeah. And I'm just like, that was what was supposed to happen. Whatever happened, that's what it was. What do I learn from this? How do I move forward in other situations? And just letting what happens to me happen to me, and seeing, okay, Jesus, you trying to show me something, right?
That's good.
And having that outlook on it instead of making it so much about myself and being offended easily. That's
so good, Chyna.
Yeah, I think
if we could keep ourselves out of a lot of things,
for sure.
We have a tendency. That's why offense is so big. Is because everything is so personal. We're easily offended by so many things. And again, it's okay to have an initial feeling, but you really should sit back and evaluate, why am I feeling like this? What is causing these feelings? Is it something that's personal going on within me? Am I giving off a certain aroma that's causing these reactions to me? Having hard conversations sometimes are birthed from how we are treating people, how we are coming across, how we communicate just on a regular. Like I said, when people find things about you and how you're giving them off, it causes them to create an opportunity to have a hard conversation, because now somebody has to come and address you. And so there's so many things that we have to be mindful about, just ourselves and what we're giving off, whatever that aroma is.
Being self-aware. I feel like I've definitely had to learn that. Just knowing how I am, knowing what I will allow and what I won't. Boundaries.
Hashtag boundaries.
Hashtag boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Need all of those.
A and some man.
Yeah. So just learning yourself and knowing what you want,
right.
who you want around you, what you're compatible with, and even like in relationships, letting it be known ahead of time.
Hard conversation.
This is what it is and this is what it ain't.
Boop, boop.
Okay. So, yeah.
I like that.
You right?
Okay.
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 All right. So, being that she said okay, Chyna, what are you okay with?
What am I okay with? I am okay with having hard conversations. I feel like I've definitely gotten to a point where if I feel the Holy Spirit telling me, you need to go and have that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay then. That just made me think about when I talked to my dad about a lot of stuff. Just getting to a place where, okay, you grown, he grown.
Yeah.
Y'all just need to have a conversation, you know? And that was definitely a lot of prayer. For sure. But that, I don't know why that just came to my mind. But being okay with having hard conversations.
Before I get into my okay, so just for the audience, when you were having to have this conversation with your father, did you feel like you said you had to pray? And so do you feel like you carried out the prayer in your conversation, like you delivered in a way where you saw the response was a good one?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. I definitely prayed for him to receive it, for me to come out and say it in a way that he could receive it, say the right things, get all out what I needed to say, and all of that happened and more. So I was very, very happy with just going through and being obedient, because it was definitely something I just wanted to do.
Were you encouraged?
Of course. You are the encourager of hard conversations. Okay? One thing about my mom, she's gonna make you have those hard conversations, and she's gonna be the one to initiate those hard conversations.
Who, me?
So if you even talk about, should I say this? Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Okay?
The truth sets you free.
Definitely.
Period.
That's very true.
And that's what I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I am okay with the truth being said. I'm okay with having hard conversations, because I feel like when you love a person, it's necessary, because you want to have the best relationship that you can have with a person, even if it causes some severing, or even if it causes pain during the process, not to hurt the person, but what I'm saying is it causes discomfort because you don't necessarily like what's being said, but they are necessary. And sometimes those hard conversations cause you to self-evaluate. It makes you really look at your own self. And I've said that earlier, but I'm saying it again. I know a lot of the conversations that I've had in the past have had the effect for me to look at myself. Excuse me, I have the belches, the burpsies.
Are you okay?
Or something. Oops. And so I was saying, it's necessary to have the hard conversations. Like I said, we want to be the best self that we can be.
Yeah. And
we don't always see ourselves. We're not able to see our flaws all the time, or we can get so used to doing something wrong where it feels right. And if somebody doesn't bring it to our attention, we just keep growing on that. So I've enjoyed looking back, not necessarily when it was happening, but I've enjoyed the hard conversations that I've had, because they have definitely caused me to be more compassionate, more thoughtful, more sensitive, more kind, more generous, and strengthening my prayer life because of those hard conversations.
think that's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
So, on that note, we've had a hard conversation tonight.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Well, this morning. Because this is going to show at 9 a.m.
Yes.
on Wednesday on YouTube.
There you go. On YouTube and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure y'all subscribing, liking, commenting. Tell us what your hard conversations were. And if you even like to have hard conversations.
Yes, let us know if you've had a hard conversation. We want to know how it happened and what was the outcome, okay? Let us know if you prayed about it first.
Yes.
Or if you didn't pray about it, what happened? So, Chyna, it's been so wonderful having
It's been real.
Having this hard conversation with you.
It's been real.
It's been, yeah.
It's been real.
It's been okay.
Yeah. It's been an okay then.
Well, we're about to left, right?
Okay.
Okay then.
Bye then.